Let us talk about Yogyakarta principles. So, what is Yogyakarta principles? It is a set of principles on the application of international human rights in law in relation to sexual orientation and gender identity. The principles affirm binding international legal standards with which all states must comply. So they promise a different future where all people are born free and equal in dignity and rights, can fulfill that precious bright right. The principles address a range of human rights issues, including protection from discrimination and violence based on sexual orientation and gender. The principles have two versions: the original 2007 principles and the 2017 Yogyakarta principles plus the 10. Yogyakarta principles was launched on March 26, 2007 at the United Nations Human Rights Council or the UNHRC. The Yogyakarta Principles on the application of international human rights law in relation to sexual orientation and gender identity were first published in 2007. They consist of 26 principles that elaborate on how existing human rights standards can be applied to address the rights of individuals of diverse sexual orientations and gender. These principles cover various aspects, including the right to life, freedom from torture, privacy, and protection from discrimination. They serve as a reference for policymakers, advocates, and legal professionals working to promote and protect the rights of LGBTQ individuals globally. So, why are these principles needed? Human rights violations targeted toward persons because of their actual or perceived sexual orientation or gender identity constitute an entrenched global pattern of serious concern. The extrajudicial killings, torture, ill treatment, sexual assault, or etc. The principles are there to create a consistent understanding of the comprehensive regime of international human rights law and its applications to issues of sexual orientation and gender identity.
Okay, so let's proceed to how did the principles come about. So the Yogyakarta principles originated in international gathering on human rights held in Yogyakarta, Indonesia in November 2006. During the meeting, participants focused on discussing the human rights issues related or regarding to sexual orientation or gender identity. So the principles were developed through a collaborative effort involving a different or various stakeholders including judges, academics, former UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, UN Special Procedures, members of treaty bodies, NGOs, and others. So these are the individuals nga nag-work together para mag-adapt sa sang Yogyakarta Principles. So, may hara sang Yogyakarta Principles, 29 principles, and there are groups into 8 groups. So, first, we have the Principle 1, Universal Enjoyment of Human Rights. So, this principle means that every single person, no matter who they are, has right just because they are human. These rights apply to everyone equally. In this world we are living where everyone has the right to speak freely and express their thoughts without being treated unfairly because of their differences. So next, we have the principle 2, non-discrimination. So, and this principle states that no one should be treated unfairly or denied their rights because of how they look, what they believe, or who they love. Next is we have the principle 3, recognition before the law. This means that everyone should be seen and treated equally in the eyes of the law. So in the legal system, Everyone should have the right to a fair trial and a lawyer no matter how much money they have. In number three, the economic, social, and cultural rights. Stated here that Principles 12 to 18 set out the importance of non-discrimination in the enjoyment of economic, social, and cultural rights, including employment, accommodation, social security, education, and health. So it means that, in general, Principles 12 to 18, economic, social, and cultural rights, these principles highlight the importance of treating everyone equally when it comes to things like jobs, places, to live support from the government, education, and healthcare. Because in this world, when everyone has a chance to get a good job and a place to live, no matter what they look like or where they come from. In number four, rights to expression, opinion, and association. Stated here that Principles 19 to 21 emphasize the importance of the freedom to express oneself, one's identity, and one's sexuality without state interference based on sexual orientation or gender identity, including the right to participate peaceably in public assemblies and events and otherwise associate in community with others. In general, Principles 19 to 21, rights to expression, opinion, and association. This means that this principle states the importance of being able to freely express who you are, your thoughts, and your feelings without the government getting in the way because of who you are, because of who you love, or how you identify. This includes being able to peacefully join public gatherings and events and connect with others in your community.
Good day. I am Denise Gunshar and I will discuss the last four basic human rights. So number 5, freedom of movement and asylum. Freedom of movement refers to the right of individuals to move freely within their own country and to travel abroad. Asylum, on the other hand, is a form of international protection granted to individuals who have fled their own country due to a well-founded fear of persecution. The Principles 22 and 23 likely address specific aspects related to the freedom of movement and asylum concerning individuals facing persecution based on sexual orientation or gender identity. This implies that people should not be hindered in their movement due to discrimination related to their sexual orientation or gender identity. Additionally, these principles underscore the right of such individuals to seek asylum in another country, where they can find safety and protection from persecution based on their characteristics. The aim is to ensure that these fundamental rights are upheld and respected on a global scale. Number 6, rights of participation in cultural and family life. Principles 24 to 26 underscore the rights of individuals to actively engage in family life, public affairs, and cultural activities within their community, emphasizing the importance of doing so without facing discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender. These principles aim to ensure inclusivity and equal opportunities for all, fostering a society where everyone can participate fully in various aspects of life, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Number 7, rights of human rights defenders. Principle 27 acknowledges the rights of individuals to defend and advocate for human rights without facing discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. It also emphasizes the responsibility of states to ensure the protection of human rights. Human rights defenders operating in these areas. This principle reinforces the importance of safeguarding those who actively work to uphold and promote human rights, creating an environment where individuals can advocate for equality and justice without fear of discrimination or harm. And lastly, number 8, rights of redress and accountability. Principles 28 and 29 underscore the significance of holding individuals accountable for violating rights and emphasize the need to provide appropriate redress for those who have experienced rights violations. These principles highlight the commitment to justice and accountability, ensuring that individuals responsible for human rights violations are held to account, and that those affected receive fair and adequate remedies for the harm they have endured.